All right, looks like we're live. Let me double check that. Okay, so today we got a deal in Birmingham, Alabama. We're looking at 35064, but then I saw this property right on the line. We're rehabbing a property turning from a 3-bed to 4-bed right now. So I was looking at 4-bedroom properties nearby. And I came across this property that was listed for $199,900. So let's go and take a look at this property. This property looks relatively nice. Outside's good. They even have these tile floors. They're trying to make it look really fancy. I think they might have over renovated a little bit here. I mean, they definitely try to go for nicer finishes. And now they're dropping the prices. Okay, so they probably overdid the renovation, try to recuperate it, and now they're not getting anything. Let's see how long they've been on the market for. Doesn't really say right here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this property. All right. The first thing we need to do is get the county that this property is in. Is Jefferson County. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go HUD FMR, right? HUD FMR. And this is going to give us the fair market rents. Once you come down here and click on access to small area FMRs, and then look up FY 2024 FMRs, go to Alabama, pick up the county, which Jefferson County that we just found. And this is property 35208. And this is going to get you the rent ceiling by bedroom count by zip code. And you can see that right here. The number is $1,600. So let's write that down. 1,600 for 35208. 1,600 for 35208 and 1,440 for a 3-bed, and it's 35208. Boom. And this is for a 4-bed, and then this is for a 3-bed. Okay. Now that we've got these numbers in here, what we then need to do is we have to go and figure out what the market rents are, right? And we have to compare the two. But to compare the rent ceiling against the market rent, because you have to take the lower of the two because the rent reasonableness test. And I'll get into what the rent reasonableness test is in just a second. Let's just get the market rent first by going to affordablehousing.com, going to the owner section, going to the market rent estimator, plugging the address, plugging in a bedroom count of 4 bedrooms, and let's see what comes up here. It says right here that the average rent for 25 units within a 1.84 mile radius, the average rent is $1,346. So that's the number we're going to go with, $1,346. 1,346, and that was a 1.84 mile radius. 1.8. And I'm just writing down these numbers because my partners already know how I analyze these deals. So this kind of helps them understand exactly where all these numbers came from. 1353 and 1349 for the zip. Okay. Now, for the purpose of today's underwriting, we have to use the lower of the two, right? If you underwrite with 1,600, you will be grossly overestimating expenses because one, that 1,600 includes utilities, but in this scenario, you have to use the lower of the two because of the rent reasonableness. I'm going to pull this up right here. Right now, I have up on my page the Housing Choice Voucher Guidebook, okay? HCV stands for Housing Choice Voucher, which is formerly known as Section 8, all right? Now, in this scenario, it says that in this guidebook in Section 2.2, it says that in conducting rent reasonableness, the PHA must determine whether the rent to the owner is a reasonable rent in comparison to rent for other comparable unassisted units. So in determining comparability, the PHA must consider the following factors where appropriate and practical. So obviously size and unit type matters. So you're comparing 4-unit single-family homes to 4-unit single-family homes. Now, within this number, can there be 4-unit apartments? Yes, but very, very unlikely because people don't generally build 4-bedroom apartments, right? It's just not very, very common. So that's why I'm pretty confident that most of these 25 units are single family homes. And I'm pretty confident in that these are the numbers that we're going to use for the rent. So well, let's go ahead and plug in some numbers here, right? So this property was listed for, let's put this over here, $199,900 right now, $199,900. The rent, because we're using the lower of the two, is going to be $1,350, right? Not $1,600, right? Just because the rent reasonableness that we just talked about. For our rehab, I'm going to zero everything else except for like $1,500 for the roof. I always like to replace the high pressure flush toilets. That's just my personal preference, but we don't need to paint here, so we can zero out row 86. We got $500 for landscaping, just in case there's any issues while we're getting the property inspected and rent ready. And then I got $1,500 for the roof in row 6. So I'm just gonna leave that as is, right? Not much rehab right here. That's gonna equal to just $3,500 that we're gonna set aside. Really not that much money, right? But just in case something comes up, which something always does, now you have some budget for it. Now, for my property taxes, I'm gonna scroll down here to my Redfin calculator. I'm gonna use 68, which is what's listed here, and 155 for the insurance. So I got $68 right here for my property taxes in B28. And then my home insurance is 155 on Redfin. So I'm gonna equals 155 and I'm multiply by 1.2. I'm multiplying by 1.2 because I'm adding a 20% premium, right? Usually that number there is probably for a property where people are expecting to live there as a primary residence. I'm adding 20% premium because typically insurance companies view investment properties as more expensive or more risky. Why? And that's why they charge more premium. So that gives me these numbers right here. I got 10% set aside for my maintenance every single month, right? Right now I'm having some HVAC issues at my current property. It costs $2,000 for each unit just to kind of replace the parts. I mean, these things add up really quick, really fast. So you don't set aside money every single month, right, in a reserve account. In anticipation of these repairs, you will be grossly overestimating your profitability because you're underestimating your expenses. So make sure you put that in there. Then I got 10% for my property management, and then I got 5% for my vacancy expenses because someone always moves out. So you got to accommodate or assume that there's going to be an empty month here and there. All right. So now for my down payment, I'm going to come down here to F19 and put 25%. So then my down payment is going to equals to my asking price. So that's B4 multiplied by my down payment percentage in F19. And it gives me total down payment of $49,975, which is roughly around 50 grand. You can zero out the arrears because that wasn't related to an off-market deal we're analyzing yesterday. I'm zeroing out any assignment fees. No commissions in here because it's already included in the purchase price. I got $5 grand for closing costs. It's $3,500 for reserve. And now I need to figure out how much am I financing, right? So my finance amount in K6 is going to equals to my asking price minus my down payment in E19. And that's going to equals to roughly 150 grand. Now, right now, the interest rates are probably around 8%. It's kind of came down a lot this week. So I'm going to put it at 8% just to be a little bit lower than what I've been doing, which is about 8.25. So 431, 2024, just to make it work. And now, 8%. That's why I just know 31st in April. I just trying to put some number in there. So now, assuming I get 1,350 and everything comes out correctly with my down payment, with my financing amount, if I rent out as 1,350 for a 1,350 as a 4-bedroom, I'll be negative cash flow of $342. That means I'm losing $342 every single month after my expenses. That's a negative 7%. Assuming I bought this property for 200 grand, just rounding here, right? And my rehab was $3,500 with an 8% interest rate. Now, the exercise what I'm going to go through with you is what purchase price, right? If I looked at it and it's another turnkey property in the zip code, what purchase price would I be looking at to make this a deal? If I lower it to 100 grand, right? Watch what happens as I lower it to 100 grand to my cash and cash return number right here. Now I'm at 8%. How about 95 grand? There you go, 90 grand. I'm trying to get to a roughly 10% return, which is right here. So at 92 grand, right, this would be a deal, but obviously it's unlikely that the owner is going to sell this property for 92 grand when they are listing it for 200. That's not realistic, but now you know, hey, if you ever see a turnkey property, now all of a sudden you know for sure that this would be a deal at 92 grand. This is how you slowly build up that muscle memory of recognizing a deal when it comes across your table right away. Okay. And so this is turnkey, right? It's not a value add. It's not a BRRRR. You're not adding heavy rehab. This is just for a turnkey property. So just remember your criteria. And again, this is not investment advice. I'm not soliciting any investments on this call. I'm simply showing you all the work I'm doing every single day, building the reps, and more importantly, for you to decide how to take the emotions out of the deal when you see a deal. All right. So now, let's say the interest rates continue to go down. Let's say I can get a 7.5% now. Can I afford to pay a little bit more? 98,000. Boom. So maybe I can go to 97,000, and now I'm still 10%, right? So 97 grand if the interest rates dropped another point. So now you can see why interest rates are why the purchase price is so heavily influenced by interest rates in the market, right? Because it drastically affects how much you can cash flow with just half a point of interest or 1 point of interest rate, right? This way, our ability or willingness to pay for a property went up by 5 grand from 92 to 97, just like that, to achieve the same return. Okay, now let's say we can go back to 200 grand, and let's say this person's stuck on this number, but they can't sell after like 6 months or 12 months. If all of a sudden I say, hey, I can give you the price that you want if you give me the terms that I need, even though I just lowered my interest rate to 0%, right? If I bought this property at 25% down, it's be a 7% return still. If I went to 15% down, that's a 9% return. If I went to 10% down, that could work. So if the seller is so stuck, right, on his number, well, I can say, well, I can give you 200 grand if you give me a down payment of 10% and you finance the rest of the property to me on 0% interest, but you'll probably say that and call that as principal only payments. Okay. That's something that you have to decide on whether or not that's a good deal for you. Okay. That's how you come up with these scenarios to say, well, at 200 grand, how would I make it a deal? This seems ridiculous. If I went out and got a loan for 8%, I can only cash flow if it's 92 grand. But if I gave them 200 grand, I can give you a 10% down as long as you finance the rest of me at 0% interest rate, and now still give me an almost 11% return. So again, the whole point is, are you overpaying for this property? Yeah, maybe. But it always depends on what you can do with the property. And if your exit strategy is Section 8, then this set of terms might work for you. Might is a key point. You have to understand your risk tolerance, and you have to understand why you're doing this. Okay. So that's the exercise. And again, you guys want a copy of the spreadsheet, go to affordablehousing.io, put in your name. After you get to the get deal analysis tool, put your name, your email, your phone number. I promise I won't spam you, but this is the fastest way for you to get a copy of the spreadsheet. I didn't make the spreadsheet from scratch. I got a few copies from other people. I modified it, I tweaked it, I combined them so that it fits how I analyze deals and so that I can make a decision on whether or not something is a deal really quick, really fast. So I hope that has the same effects for you. And that's it. I hope you guys copy my homework, right? Look at the same deal I analyzed today. This is just another property on the market. You can find in Redfin. And it's the same deal. Put it on your own YouTube channel and just build on the reps, because in 308 days from now, you can say, hey, I probably know what I'm doing because I've been analyzing a deal every single day for the past 308 days. I hope that gave you some confidence. All right. I hope you all have an amazing Saturday. I hope you all spend some quality time with your family and friends today, because that's what life is all about. All right. I will talk to you tomorrow for day 309. Have a good one, everybody.